Welcome to the review with Just One More Fix. This is James. With me in this review is Kurt and Lacey.
Hey.
Hello. The OGs. You can find us online at justonemorefix.com or on Twitter at JustOneMoreFix. If you like us, head over to iTunes or to Google Play and give us a rating and a comment. In this review, we're going to review the White Wolf app Vampire Prelude. And now, it's time to get our review fix. Welcome to another review with Just More Fix. As you heard, we're going to review the iPhone Android app game Vampire Prelude. So it's an app from Asmodee Digital, but it actually takes place in the World of Darkness and specifically in the Vampire the Masquerade world. So I think that we're all big World of Dark. Well, most of us here.
I like the World of Darkness very much.
So most of us are big fans of
fantastic,
Vampire the
mage,
Masquerade.
Lots of fun.
But this one specifically takes place in World of Darkness this one specifically takes place in Vampire the Masquerade. And White Wolf has come out and said that their release schedule right now is winter of 2018 for the new Vampire the Masquerade. So I think that they're going to trickle out some products to sort of build some buzz and some anticipation.
Well, it'd be
keep interest.
it'd be difficult to match the release of the first one. It really would.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they've talked about, not to go too down a big of a rabbit hole, but they've talked about wanting to do. I listened to their keynote speech and a couple panels because I'm a huge White Wolf geek, I guess, but that they wanted to try and drum up the same sentiment and impact the RPG world with this new one the same way they did with the original Vampire the Masquerade in '91.
I don't know if it's even possible because I may not be the biggest vampire fan, but back in the day, we had just graduated from high school, and when it dropped, everybody was
dude,
just
it dropped
like,
it made a big monsoon puddle, and
yeah, we were all like,
There was a riot at my preschool.
damn kids, get off my lawn!
All right, so I think
my lawn.
The whole Vampire the Masquerade thing, I think, is an entire episode in and of itself, and that's probably one we should probably get to because there's a lot there. But so we're going to focus on this app or game, whatever you want to call Vampire Prelude. So you guys can find it on iTunes or Google Play or wherever you find your apps. But if you just Google Vampire the Masquerade or Vampire Prelude, it should come right up. So it is, I guess, to describe it, it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure thing, I guess you might say.
It's exactly a choose-your-own-adventure thing.
It's a first-person reader. It's different. It's really kind of cool.
So the interface of it is pretty neat. It's all done by text almost. You don't actually have to type the words in, but there's text that comes across from a couple different characters that you're talking back and forth with, and basically, surprise, surprise, spoiler alert, you become a vampire. I mean, it's a Vampire the Masquerade game. If you just
should have said spoilers in the beginning.
Well, we're not going to go too far into the story, but I mean, like, if you think that you're going to play a Vampire the Masquerade app and all you are is the food, that's a terrible game.
The replayability isn't very good.
Yeah. So no surprise, you're gonna become a vampire, right?
Unless you die.
True. But as the game goes along, you talk to several different characters, and they are distinctly different. There's several different characters. I don't want to go into it too much, but there are several different characters in the game that you deal with, and you're texting back and forth. So you're telling this story about what you've done initially with a friend of yours. The first character that you encounter is this friend of yours called Izzy, and you're describing the acts that you've already done, and you can fail and you can die, in which point you have to start back over at the beginning of the chapter. And it does give you some license to make choices. You can choose to take one of these three things. What do you choose to take? How do you respond to this? What do you do in this? Like, what action do you take? Do you attack? Do you hide? Do you run? Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. I found myself as I was playing, I'm about halfway through it right now, and I found myself as I was playing, of course, I was at work. We weren't on any calls. It's 2 a.m. It's dark, and I'm like, oh, it's so good, and it builds suspense. It really does. As you're watching if you're familiar with any texting app, you can see the 3 dots that keep moving across like someone's responding.
As you young people talk about, what is this?
So, but it builds suspense. You're like, oh, what are they going to say back? And then another message will pop up on the side, and you see that like the next character has sent you a message, and now you have to click on theirs, and so there's multiple conversations going on sometimes, and it adds some suspense and levels of complexity or depth, I guess you might say.
And it's interesting and it builds because you're not reading about the other. And the reason why I think we were reviewing this is it doesn't. You're not reading about the adventure of someone else. In essence, like I said, it's a choose your own adventure. You are the protagonist.
Yeah, it's all first person. It's like I did this. You know, your name in the game is Case, and it's like, Case, what are you doing? I am doing X or whatever, So it's
and you don't have to like answer long form. Some of the stuff just simply says, tap to reply.
Tap to
reveal. Interesting level of mystery that you get to see because you're not just trying to figure out what's going on and who these other people are. You're also trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing.
There's typographical errors. There's
it's very much like you're actually texting. Do you know what I mean? I was like, autocorrect, damn it.
I remember just in the first chapter I went through before I died, there's some very obvious autocorrect mistakes.
Right. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool that way. I was just very organic.
That's
the term I'm looking for.
But the story is even though it's all through text message and you get a lot of this shorthand, there's enough there that the story is still detailed and engaging.
Yes, yeah, I agree. It's not just fluff of, OMG, LOL.
Well, no, that's just it. You can be 40-something years old, and as long as you're not completely clueless, you're not left wondering what all the elite speak and emojis mean.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was interesting is it's a kind of even like one of the big complaints that I always hear about World of Darkness is that
there's vampires.
But there's so much storyline to it. It's hard to get into it initially, and there is a lot. But with this, you don't need any knowledge because your character is becoming a vampire, so you're learning about it, through the actual gameplay, which I think is interesting. Yeah. I think it's a great way to kind of maybe get introduced to the World of Darkness. Now, I haven't seen, I haven't gotten any real political issues yet, like in a vampire society kind of a way yet. But that doesn't mean that that's not going to happen in the future. But it's. I think it might be a great way to introduce something.
It's the classic show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
I mean, show me what happens to someone when they're supposed to be turning into a vampire. Don't say, the following 7 things occur when you become...
The other interesting thing is when you play a vampire game, even if you go through the Embrace, there's not a lot of focus generally placed on the process of figuring things out, you know what I mean? And it goes through that a little bit. That's the very initial part of it. And it's interesting because it kind of... It focuses on some interesting things that I've never really considered before in the past.
It takes the meta away because someone's telling you a story, but you are shoehorned into the middle of it, but you can't meta your way out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So right on. We've never really reviewed an app before or a game like this before, so it's a little interesting. So right now, it's actually got kind of a low rating on Google. It's actually 3.8 right now, which I was kind of surprised. I don't know if there may have been some crashing issues when it first came out, so people rated it low and then pushed it up.
That's the thing. Maybe we should start, and go over things like price stability,
playability. So it's got 1,000 downloads right now, is what Google says as of today. I'm sure that's going to continue to rise. But it's also brand new. It just came out. Which is also why I wanted to try and get this out there to try and push it a little bit and kind of try and make it a little more popular, because I think it is really cool. So like I said, it's called Vampire Prelude, and the subtitle is "We Eat Blood and Our Friends Are All Dead."
Short to the point.
Yeah, it's catchy.
So the cost of it though, it is $4.99, I believe, on Google. Now I don't know. I assume it's the same price on iTunes. I don't know, but I don't have an iPhone, so I didn't really look. But I don't know. Do you guys feel that's a fair price, or?
Well, I think it's too soon for me to tell because I've only done the first chapter, so I don't know as far as how long running the app is, how much replayability there is. It's too new to make a statement about those things.
Okay.
I would say that what I've gotten out of it so far, I think it's worth it just because the story is engaging.
Right.
But like I said, if you're looking at things like replayability, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Now, see, I don't do apps. I don't get them. I don't buy them. I usually just don't. I use my phone as a web browser and, oddly enough, as a texting machine. And I probably will go out and get this.
Really?
I have to admit, and okay, I'm going to admit it on the on the air.
On the air, Hirsch. You heard it here first.
Confessional time. But I am actually engaged by this story. And so just from the first couple of go-throughs that it looks to be pretty well written. The voices are definitely different. That's what I'm looking for. Voices. There's definitely different voices from different characters.
Oh yeah, not to reveal too much, but like the tone of the texts are significantly different. If you want to take a peek at mine, just to see, I can show you. If you're curious, but it is drastically different. Now, one thing I will say is, Okay, so the one thing that I did find a little bit frustrating about it was initially when I was playing through the first chapter, I was struggling, and I don't if you've ever had the if you've ever had the choose your own adventure games or books rather back in the day, it was like, look at this, oh, go back, nope, that's not the right one, go back again, look at this. So I did get a little frustrated initially because I was struggling, but then I showed the app to Lacey and she powered through it and got it figured out and got out of it. So, but now. I have
all the right decisions.
I've had no problem.
You're just good at making good decisions.
Well, I've like been powering right along now, and I'm about halfway through it, and it's fun. I love it. It's a great storyline. That's the only thing that I found frustrating.
I have some minor annoyances.
Like
The amount of buzzing irritates
when
me. It buzzes every time there's a new message, and I find that very irritating.
Right. So
you could like silence the vibrate on your phone.
Right.
You keep wanting to go into settings.
Oh, I guess we didn't
But
mention.
I like to have the other sounds. So
It has a
there's
soundtrack
little bit
to
of
it.
background
Yeah, there's
music.
some
and
like it's kind of interesting because like it's like dramatic. You know what I mean? Like
the
at that
first part
point in the
reminds me
movie.
of like that, sort of like
Creepy,
sulky
haunted
western,
house.
almost like
Yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn, sort of like in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So what was really noticeable to me was right at first, as soon as you opened it, I'm like, oh, look, it's the Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, their art
and
style
it was
is
just
very-
so distinctive. It screams. It's kind of retro, but yeah, I found.
Well,
it
it's
appealing.
very much its own thing. Like
Yeah.
that style of artwork is very much White Wolf and Vampire the Masquerade.
black line, hand drawn, hand colored.
Yeah.
It's very obviously not CGI. You know.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Well, I think it's got all those things that make it very true to form for White Wolf. So it's got the excellent storyline, engaging characters, that very indicative art style,
angst.
and angst. It does have a certain amount of angst and that delicious darkness that we all know and love.
Yeah. It's also to mention, if you're absolutely not a fan of Vampire the Masquerade, they also did put out another version of it that is a different storyline that I haven't looked at yet, but it's Mage of the Ascension. It's called Mage of the Ascension Refuge. So that one's out there as well, although I've heard that one is actually shorter. Now, I don't really know, I don't have any experience with it, but I'll probably get it after
I'll
finish
probably
this
do it
one.
too.
But I'm not the biggest Mage fan, but I'll check it out. It's I want to throw some support that way to make sure that they there's
Wizards are cool.
but I like the political and darkness of the of Vampire.
Listen, if
so
you like dusty old tomes, there's always Tremere.
That's
okay?
true.
I'm just saying.
True story. True story. Alrighty, so any final thoughts about this Vampire the Prelude thing?
Just that it looks cool, and it might actually manage to get me to buy something.
Right on, man. That's actually kind of cool. I was surprised by that.
Yeah,
I didn't think you were going to shout it down or anything, but I just didn't think you'd kind of be one of those things. Like, it's neat, but I'm not sure it's for me. But that's really cool. Surprised me,
I
actually.
used to like the Choose Your Own Adventure.
That's so
That's
cool.
me. That's how it got me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a
Yeah,
sucker for
no,
a
I
choose your
do.
own
I'm like,
adventure book.
Oh, I used to love these.
Well, then the problem is it's like, man, I don't know if I like it, but I just got to know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah, and then
you
like,
know what I mean?
Eat the guy. You died. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I can tell you is it's interesting is the chapters you can look and see that they're laid out, in a line, in a list or whatever. Well, I've skipped a bunch of chapters. So this is my problem is that as I go along, if I don't go back and do the 3 chapters that I missed, because they may not be listed in chronologically, if I miss those 3, I'm going to have to go back through and make different choices to figure out how to get those 3 chapters unlocked so I can see what happens. So I have this kind of completionist problem to know the whole story. But so we'll see. I don't know.
I don't have that problem.
Lacey, what do you think? Any final thoughts on it?
No, I think I said everything. I like it.
Right on, cool. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this game. It's fun so far. As far as replayability goes, though, can't really comment on that yet. I don't know. We'll see. So, but as of right now, I like it a lot. It's fun. It's passing my time. It's just as good, or if you're looking for as any other app, but if you're looking for story, it's way better than any other game you're going to find on your phone.
Especially if you're like stuck in the DMV or you have to wait in a waiting room for just like 20 minutes or something.
It might cause some interesting looks as people glance at your phone and read your text if they're sitting next to you and they're like, "What the hell? Eat rats? What the hell are you talking about?" So
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a work of fiction. Any resemblance to people who were dead,
Right, yeah.
probably purely coincidental.
Who doesn't like to feel a little dirty at the DMV?
Right on.
Me.
All right, roll right on. So this is Vampire Prelude. We eat blood and our friends are dead from Asmodee Games and White Wolf. So check it out. You can find it on Google Play and iTunes. Or the iStore, is that what it's called?
I don't know. I don't go there.
Me either. All right, so there you go.
Apple people have to figure themselves.
There you go. Check it out.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Just One More Fix. Music has been provided by Kevin MacLeod. You can find him at incompetech.com. You can find us at justonemorefix.com and follow us on Twitter at JustOneMoreFix. Bye.